He ended up going for 6 weeks of radiation treatments. Every day we went down. I had to take time off work because I basically had, a breakdown. And I couldn't function anymore. And I had to, I took this time off and I drove him down every day and he went for the radiation treatments. And, we dealt with all that. And the poor guy, he was like so tired, lost half of his hair. And it was just really, really difficult. But anyways, after that, the tumor shrunk a little bit. And the last MRI that he had, they said that the tumor was, they said stable. So that was back in December. And after, because he had gone for the radiation and the tumor shrunk a bit, and because he's taking the drugs on a regular basis, like not missing any, and they increased the amount of drugs that he's taken and the combination of drugs, he was seizure free for more than a year, and so he got his license back, and so now he's able to drive again, which is it's a huge benefit to him and me, because when he wasn't driving for over a year, I was the taxi. I was driving him all over the place, and I felt, I had to do it. It's my son. I had to do it. And I wanted to do it, but you know what? It's so difficult to play taxi all the time, especially when you need to get up for work early in the morning, and kids like to stay out late. They like to stay out late, and so I would often have to say, well, yeah, I can pick you up, but you know what? It's not going to be 12 midnight. It's going to have to be 11. I'm sorry. And so I would feel bad, cutting back on his social time, but there's a limit to what you can do as a caregiver. Like you're not Superwoman, you're not Superman, and you're not a magician. And it's so hard because you get so tired, physically tired, emotionally tired, drained. It's brutal.
And how did you manage to continue working in all this period?
It was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
It was to the point where, when my son had the seizure in the summer of 2010, and I just couldn't work anymore. I just couldn't. My manager was fabulous, a really amazing lady who totally understood. I told her, I said, look, I have to take time off. And she says, not a problem. But my other manager, my team lead, when I told him, I said, he basically said, I had two one-week holidays booked in the summer, and it was the first holiday that I cut short, and then I had another holiday coming up a couple weeks later. And he says, you're done with your holidays, right? And I said, no, I'm not. I said, as a matter of fact, I'm taking 5 weeks off. And his response was, you're kidding me, right? Even though he knew what had happened, his response was, you're kidding me, right? And I said, no, I'm not kidding you. So, suck it up, because I'm sorry, but you know what? My family comes first. So it was very difficult for me at work. And another thing that happened was that I would have to take a lot of time off, for various appointments, like meeting him to go to the doctors for checkups and MRI results and so on and so forth. And, I would get a lot of comments from people like, if I went out for, a couple of hours, they would make comments like, well, are you coming back? And so I was getting really, really sick and tired of these comments that I was getting from people. And it really, I think in the end, that may be one of the reasons that they terminated me, was because they didn't like the fact that I was not available 24/7, even though I put in more than my fair share of hours. It was in IT, when you're doing application support, it's just never enough. They would expect you to be up all night and come to work the next day. Like if you were on call and you had to, you were woken up at 2 a.m, you were up for 3 hours, they expect to see you at, bright and early the next day. So, taking time off didn't go down well with some people. Now, having said that, other people were fine. Like when my son had brain surgery, I had managers that were so nice to me that, they let me have extra time off with pay so that I could stay home longer while my son recuperated. So I've had various different responses from people. Like you get some people that are really nice and really understanding, really compassionate, and you get people that they don't care about anything that happens to you. Like they just don't care. All they care about is themselves. So you get quite a variety of responses from people. But it's been really difficult because most days that, like a lot of the times when I go to work, I would be just dead on my feet. And a lot of times because of all the problems that I've had, I have not been able to sleep at night. And, if I can't sleep at night, then, if I'm up for a few hours in the middle of the night, well, I finally will get back to sleep. But then, when the alarm goes off at 7 o'clock, I'm so dead tired that I just can't get up. So I would be late a lot. And, most of the people that I worked with were they were understanding and they covered for me when I was late.